What was kind of the key takeaway from this whole experience for you? Were there certain concepts that really stood out for you?
My favorite impression, I guess, is just getting me experience with the world of entrepreneurship. Is really just kind of opening my eyes as to how the process works and how people have gone about getting over the barriers and getting through the challenges and kind of taking a product from nothing and making it into something.
And I would say the biggest thing that you can take away is the complete continuum of the entire entrepreneurship process. So it starts with an idea, but then along the way, that idea has to be translated through technology, through commercial partners, through business models, and really getting a broad idea of the entire spectrum all in one swoop is kind of what you're going to get from this course.
I never stopped to think about how my idea was really going to make money.
I think the most useful thing for me was seeing how you could develop an entrepreneurial program with very limited money. Gaining the resources and knowledge to make that happen is really important.
I think there's definitely a lot for me to take away, but the thing I want to talk about is since I'm a Chinese student, my speaking English is not so good at the beginning of the course, and after some practice, after some push from our dear professor, we have to answer a lot of questions. We have to prepare for every cases. That is definitely a good opportunity for me to practice my English.
This class introduced me to opportunity, and we had a dream manifesto project, and I had thought of an idea in 2009, and this project kind of jarred that loose and then offered me an opportunity to think about the problem, get riled up about the problem. It was about climate change. I'm kind of a fatalist, so I think we're all going to be cannibalizing ourselves, looking for oil and natural resources.
I think for me, the key experience was thinking through the process of an idea or a dream that I had, and then working through different forms of communication to try to sell that idea to potential investors, and having that experience in class.
I think the big things are just the introduction to the technology entrepreneurship world, especially if web is where you're interested. That was a big takeaway in terms of how that can work and growing it, and also just some technology benefits in terms of web technology.
I think that before I actually took this class, I only have a very vague opinion of entrepreneurship. I didn't know a lot about that, and I think that entrepreneurship is just like starting a business, and you made a lot of money from it. And after taking this course, I found that making money is not like the it's not really like the first idea that most of the entrepreneurs have.
A lot of innovation that I saw came out of frustration, seeing a problem, being frustrated, and that's kind of what I did for this, and was frustrated with the environment and was like, I'm going to do something.
So my last question is if you can speak to other international students, other women, your colleagues in your respective departments who might have some interest in business or in entrepreneurship, what would you say to them to give them confidence to come over here and take a course like this one?
Well, advice, if you need to hone your language skills, this is the right place. You're going to be exposed to, or you're going to have to talk about it.
Well, I think that, coming from biochem background, it seemed pretty clear to me that a lot of the entrepreneurship skills could be really useful depending on what route I wanted to take. So if I wanted to eventually have my own lab, well, that's pretty similar to starting a company, managing employees, stuff like that. It's similar types of things. But also coming from a biochem background, I just knew that there's probably a strong chance I would end up working in industry and working for a startup, or eventually starting my own company.
So if you embark on something like this, it has to be out of your own drive and motivation. Your PhD advisor is more than likely not going to be the best person to drive this research. They're in academia. They have a lot of the market expertise, the technological expertise, but that drive has to come from you internally.
我强力推荐这门课，你肯定能学到很多东西，并且能很好的锻炼你的英语水平。
I definitely say that law students should take the technology entrepreneurship, especially if they want to get into business law, because what I have found is that law and business are definitely related. If you want to address legal questions without understanding a business model, you're going to have a really difficult time doing it. So as an example, you'll be writing contracts for scenarios that have not yet happened, or contracts for revenue streams that may not ever be adopted. So that's really, really helpful to understand how an entrepreneurial startup venture works.
Unlike a lot of engineering courses, this course expects you to express your opinions about the materials. You know, when you get this equation, you get a set of equations, and you're expected to basically regurgitate them or be able to apply them in a way to some problem, as opposed to the professor asking you, you know, what do you think about the implementation of these problems?
To my fellow MBA students, I would say this is not a course just for those in the operations and technology management specialization. I think this is for anybody who has an interest in technology, as well as looking at how to bring something to market. It helps you think through, you know, how do you go about thinking about an idea and analyzing it in the context of the industry that you're focusing, as well as how do you sell it to potential investors or business leaders within your organization. So I think it takes you through that full process, and I think it would be a good experience for you in an MBA program.
The interactivity of it is completely different than a law course. You actually talk to other people, work on group projects.
And, you know, I didn't mind being the only girl in the class, but it would have been great if there's other, you know, just more perspectives in general, I think really contribute to the learning environment.
And I highly recommend it because I think it's a great, refreshing change from the law school scene. And it's given me a lot of insight as far as working with my peers and getting to know folks and networking.
Every student wants to prepare. They want to read what's next. Every case is so creative. Every case is so different from the next. Every guest speaker is so different from the next that you're just enthralled. You really want to learn, and you're going to want that. And you could be the most quiet person, I guarantee you'll talk in class.